Hello everyone. A very warm welcome to the International Online Conference on Online Learning, Best Practices and Possibilities. It is the best time to explore the practices and possibilities, and in the best time we have with us the best speakers from across the globe to enlighten, to guide, to moderate and to ignite the learning practices of all of us. I'm pleased to welcome you all in an interesting and meaningful session from one of the most celebrated international speakers, Professor Evangelia from Greece. We are honored to have her with us in this event. Evangelia is teaching to a variety of learner groups, starting from school students to university students to the teachers. She has been active in the academia and research since last 2 decades. She has been honored with various national and international awards from the premier institutions for her meaningful contributions to the society, academia and research. She is the role model to many of these teachers and research scholars to work in the domain of academics and research. She has invested her most of time in developing the best teaching learning practices for learners across the disciplines, though her major area is teaching English as a second language to the learners. Through her practices, she has been motivating many of us to bring the best into the practice. It is also indeed pleasure and honor for Vedant Foundation and Vedant Educational Services to have her as the international advisor with us. On behalf of the entire organizing committee of this conference, I warmly welcome Professor Evangelia to share her meaningful talk with us. Through her experienced and well-researched data and thoughts and ideas, we will be certainly benefited. Let us have her to talk to us. Thank you.
In the words of Carly Fiorina, the goal is to turn data into information and information into insight, which shows the power of the data, especially nowadays. Learning analytics will be the focus of my talk today, especially in online higher education, and I will try to focus on an in-depth evaluation of student profiles. According to the UW-Madison's definition of learning analytics is the undertaking of activities that generate actionable data from the learning environment intended to improve student outcomes by informing structure, content, delivery, or support of the learning environment. Contextually defined for UW-Madison by the Learning Analytics Roadmap Committee. But let's see more deeply what the notion of learning analytics may entail. First of all, we start with the data. The data is the basic asset. It has to do with the raw material that is supposed to be transferred into analytical insights. Then the analysis follows. It's the process to add intelligence to data using algorithms. And the last part is the action, the critical step towards achieving the purpose, improving the student's performance for better academic results. Let's have a look now at the learning analytics in the literature, especially through online bibliography. There is a conceptual framework that really encapsulates the design requirements for the implementation of the learning analytics. It includes 6 critical dimensions, each of which is subdivided into subdimensions. In a graphical representation, the dimensions of the framework contain the following 6 perspectives. The first perspective has to do with the stakeholders. that we refer to the contributors and beneficiaries of learning analytics. The second one is the objectives. We should distinguish two fundamentally different objectives, the reflection and the prediction, which is the critical self-evaluation of a student. The prediction can also lead to earlier intervention. For example, how we can prevent dropouts. It also includes the competencies, which is the basic numeric and other literacies, as well as ethical understanding, are not enough to realize all the benefits and the advantages that learning analytics has to offer. The optimal exploitation of learning analytics data requires high-level competencies and literacies in this direction, interpretative and critical evaluation skills. It also includes the data student, the data which is the student's data, and the method. The learning analytics takes advantage of the so-called information, the retrieval technologies like educational data mining and machine learning or classical statistical analysis techniques in combination with visualization techniques. The last part is the constraints that we should use data in the context of learning analytics in an acceptable and compliant way. All the policies and the guidelines need to be developed that protect the data from abuse. Students, we should bear in mind, all educators, that are real and diverse individuals and not just data or information. So there should be some principles as a rationale. The first principle is the beneficence. It has to do with the professional's moral imperative. Second one is a transparency regarding the policies and the procedures for collection, access, and use of student learning data. The third one has to do with the privacy and confidentiality, the data governance policy. In other words, educators should use the data anonymously. Minimization of adverse impacts, it should also be taken into account. It should not be the only input for consideration when taking action. What would be the aim? To uphold the dignity of students while ensuring learning analytics that are used to improve educational outcomes. So all these are the guiding principles and values in learning analytics. This is just a synoptic diagram that has to do with all the principles I just mentioned before. So you can see around the diagram all the basic principles and inside the learning analytics notion. Now let's move on to the learning analytics functional taxonomy. The University of Wisconsin-Madison needed a practical and easy way to understand and conceptualize the framework for discussing the educational benefits of learning analytics. The faculty and instructor fellowships explored and adapted a pragmatic, realistic framework of learning analytics applications because it easily distinguishes between the purposes. Let's have a look at the 6 different categories included in the taxonomy. First one is to assess learning behavior, to measure engagement of student behavior rather than performance, to evaluate the social learning, to measure and track student-to-student and student-to-instructor interactions, to improve the learning materials and tools, to identify the potential gaps and offer an objective evaluation of learning materials and tools, to individualize learning, to customize the course content for each learner using continuous feedback and help individual students, to predict the student performance through statistical models and machine learning techniques that are applied to predict later learning performance likely at-risk students that can be identified, and the instructor can take immediate action to intervene and change and customize the course if he or she deems it necessary. And visualize learning activities in a digital ecosystem. The visual reports are produced on the learning process, and teachers can leverage the learning efficiency, and they optimize learning as well. Let's proceed to the basic data analysis now. One of the best learning analytics tool, the one that I personally use at my college as well, is the Google app. It is a web-based analytics tool and it has been considered to be a revolutionary interactive classroom response system that can increase audiences' engagement. It helps to grow loyal audiences, and the students mainly use their smartphones, so they answer the questions that are posed not through their computers, but mainly through their smartphones. It provides analytics to professors and can easily check who responded to what and how much time was taken to answer the questions in real time. So we focus on real-time metrics of content, and we measure audiences' comprehension in real time. Also, the provision of a quantified feedback students can communicate during the course. It is, in other words, an alternative to traditional hand raising, as every individual in an audience has the opportunity to express themselves anonymously, which is very important, as opposed to the offline traditional education, which is via observation and questionnaires to collect the data. The WOOC Lab characteristics focus on what we call speaking visually, because the types of data is important to make the right data-driven decisions. And WOOC Lab has been considered to be the best interactive voting tool. WOOC Lab is also a revolutionary classroom response system that has been designed to improve and boost audience participation and engagement by turning the smartphones into a comprehensive learning tool. The founders of WOOC Lab, for your information, were Sebastian Lepp, CEO, and Jonathan Alzetta, CTO, studied engineering in Brussels. What makes WOOC Lab so unique and so successful today is its number of features that improve memory and comprehension of students, and this is the most important part. We teach, but how much the students can really remember while they're having a lesson. Let's see now how learning analytics tool works. It's easily implemented in 3 easy steps. You create your questions. It could be a wide range of questions, either multiple choice questions, opinion polls, numerical value questions, matching, word clouds, and many others. So you launch your question and invite your learners to connect to the URL displayed on the screen. Then we collect real-time answers from the learners and interact with them based on the answers. The address to sign up for free and try the WOOC Lab dimensions is the following, given on the slide. So we talk about display of real-time results, and this is what is the most important about to give feedback in real time, and we talk about real-time metrics, or in other words, we can also talk about live learning. I decided to incorporate some authentic screenshots in order to give you a taste of what WOOC Lab may look like. So this is in real-time online votes. Here I have designed multiple choice questions and I display the results to my learners. This is another screenshot from opinion polls. You can see the reference to the percentages, how many students answered and how many students correctly and how many students did not answer. We can also use images and display the results. For example, here in that speech and language therapy course, I asked them to find the word aphasia. So all of them try to identify the word in a word cloud. So this is very interactive as well. That was regarding brainstorming. You can see the 3 categories, and the red one, the orange one, the blue one. So the students participated and added their ideas with reference to these 3 categories. This one is a word cloud view, and you see that the terms that they use the most prevail, and the letters are big. So students mainly focused on the words ability and information, and the question was if they could describe research skills in their own words. This is real-time online votes regarding matching. That was a matching exercise. You can also see in the middle the correct results in percentages. And it also gives the chance to users to have a look at the frequency of the most recurring answers, and they display the results as well. And most importantly, all this data that we said before have to be exported. The students need to know, not only in real time, but also afterwards in an asynchronous mode, what they have done, what they have performed in class. So these exported data results, when online class has finished, are very important. There are available formats at the bottom of the settings, and export results to Excel. We export all results into an Excel document for further analysis, either in an agreed format. We can review the data per question and per participant, or in a report where we can go through the general results of a session, just like when they were displayed on screen, and they can also export this report to PDF. Let me show you. This is just a screenshot from an Excel. You can see the percentages and the answers of the students. So all the data have been interpreted using percentages. And mainly the data are given in summary tables. This is a screenshot of Cooklab where I would like to focus on the fact that there is usage of summary statistics, such as averages and the proportion of the people in its category. Two variables are used. The categorical variable, which is a category or type. For example, hair color is a categorical value, or hometown is a categorical variable. Species or treatment types and gender are all categorical variables. The numerical variables is variables that there is measurement or number, and it has a numerical meaning. For example, the total rainfall measured in inches is a numerical value, or the heart rate is a numerical value. The number of food that is consumed in an hour is a numerical value. That is exported results in a report format. So you can see the bars there and the questions as well, because in the exported results in PDF, in an Excel, you cannot see the questions. Students cannot see the questions, whereas in the report they can see the questions. So it's up to the educator and to the students what find most convenient in order to export and upload later on. This is a PDF that was from a physiotherapy course. Students were required to answer and find a correct part regarding that particular lesson. This is a synoptic table from the data that we can export, and when students zoom it, they can see their results, and there is also given the average of the class, so the educator can really know about the average performance of the class, of the students, and the students might know their weak zones as well. And for those that would like to further the performance of students, to have a deeper knowledge, they can resort to using descriptive statistics of WooClub synoptic performance table. So here I use this of 11 college students. So you can see the questions, and the yellow bar shows the success. It was above 58%, which means that most of my class did well. So what would be the pedagogical implications? Turning in learning data into actions can lead to learning optimization and curriculum improvement. And that would be the goal of most educators. The goal of improving education raises the need for research-based models and strategies. To identify the problematic zones of students early can make the difference between a failed or a successful online training program. Learning analytics used during the lesson or after are designed to inform and empower instructors and learners. We can even understand if students are frustrated, or why students abstain from answering some questions, because although most of them have access to them, some do not participate and just look at how their classmates participate. In every online application, there may be some limitations. So it again gives us a taste of why that student avoid answering that particular question, and how we as educators can design better lessons in later courses. And lastly, data-driven discovery in education and the impact of data and analytics within education will be transformative, because we should talk about transformative learning in the digitalized era. I would like to finish with an important message here, that it is important to build up a data-informed culture, because analytics matters. These are my references. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor Evangelia, for your precious time and a wonderful session. The ideas you shared make a lot difference in the teaching learning process. On behalf of the entire organizing committee, I'm really grateful to you for your nice session, cooperation and all the concerns. Thank you very much.